In this week's episode of the 262 Fishing Friday Forum, we're looking back at my first ever tournament and figuring out what lessons I learned from it. Alright, so before we get into it, I know I haven't done this in a couple of episodes, but don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. We're trying to get to 250 subscribers, and when we do, we're doing a giveaway for this Mepps Basser lure kit. It's a 6 lure kit that's a great way to get you started if you're new, or a great way to just add to your tackle if you're already experienced. But either way, make sure you click the red button down below to subscribe so we can get to 250 subscribers. And you can win the Mepps Basser kit. Alright, so before we actually start talking about the tournament, I have to say a huge thank you to the guys that ran this Whitewater Open. It's an incredibly laid-back atmosphere. It's not a huge entry fee. They were super kind, super polite. I don't think they knew this was my first ever tournament, but they were very welcoming to have me there. They were happy to have me. They didn't care that I had never been there before. It seemed like most of the guys there fish it every single time because it's maybe every 2 weeks or so. It seems like a lot of them knew each other, but they were all very nice people, very welcoming, and they were happy to have me there, and they made me happy to be there. So thanks guys for running an awesome event. If you are looking to get into tournament fishing and you are local to Waukesha County or southeastern Wisconsin, check out the Whitewater Bass Open Tournament Series. Message me down below or email me at 262fishing@gmail.com. I'll get you the link so that you can get in touch with them and you can join me fishing these tournaments. So as most of you probably know and probably saw, I fished my first ever bass tournament last week. And if you watched the episode, you know it certainly could have gone better. In fact, there's really nowhere to go from here but up. I didn't catch a single fish, not a weighable fish, just no fish at all. Now, of course, that's frustrating on any day, but especially when you're in a tournament, there's stress, there's money on the line. More importantly than the money to me, there's pride on the line. You want to at least bring something in. So this episode is talking about the lessons that I learned so that next time I fish in a tournament, I can at least bring something in, even if it's not a qualifying fish, even if it's not a full bag, at least I can say, yeah, I got something. Alright, so let's start with the things I did right last week, and truthfully, there aren't a ton of them. But one of the things I think I did well actually was before the tournament, I went out and actually practiced on the lake. Now, you guys have seen the episode of what I do to prepare for a lake I've never fished before, but I didn't want that to be the case here. I didn't want the tournament to be the first time I ever fished this lake. So a couple days before, I actually drove around the lake, looked for spots that I thought might hold fish. This ended up being a big deal for me because the spots that I thought would hold fish ended up not producing anything. And so to have alternative spots in mind right away saved me some time, so I didn't have to look at a map, look around me, try and figure out where I was going to go because I already had my next couple of spots in mind. The other thing I think that I did well was if I was fishing a spot that didn't have fish and I didn't get a bite, I didn't spend a whole lot of time there. Now, maybe I should have spent more time, but I spent about a half hour or so at a spot, and if I didn't get a single bite, I moved on. But for me, a half hour seemed like a reasonable amount of time. It was enough time to figure out our fish here, and short enough that if I wasn't getting a bite, I wasn't wasting a ton of time just because I had a certain spot that I thought should have been good. So what could I have done better? Well, let's go back to the talk about practicing and having points mapped out and figured out right away. Like I said, I had about 5 or 6 spots that I thought might be able to hold fish, but I didn't really have anything specifically for like, okay, if it's this condition, they might be here. If it's these other conditions, they might be over here. I just had a couple of spots that generally looked good regardless of the conditions. Now, I don't know if I need to get more specific with that and say, okay, if it's bluebird skies and sunny and calm, this is where I'm going to go. If it's windy and cloudy and there's a lot of chop on the water, this is where I need to go. Let me know down in the comments if that's something I do need to do and get that specific in my practice, because if it is, it's definitely something I'll do. I know I said I thought I did a good job with my timing at each individual spot and giving each spot a fair chance, but not spending too much time on it if I didn't find any fish. Well, the exception to that, and one thing I think I need to improve on, is you guys saw I was all about this one dock. It's a dock that I've seen other people catch fish on while watching other YouTubers. It's a dock that I've been told by other people will produce fish. So this dock, I was completely hyper focused on it to the point where I probably even had tunnel vision on it. I wanted to fish that dock. I was convinced it was going to hold fish, and I fished it a lot longer than some of the other spots, even though I didn't get any fish there. So I think I need to be a little more open-minded, not get tunnel vision on one spot just because it's worked for other people or because it looks like a really good spot, or maybe even because I've caught a fish in that spot before, if that ends up being the case down the road, and recognize, hey, this might be a good spot for some people in some conditions, but it's not working for me. Let's not get tunnel vision. Let's not be hyper focused on it. Let's move on because it's not working. So at the end of the day, it was really about not being able to find fish. And even though I was moving around trying to find those fish, I just couldn't find them. Now, the guys that brought in a limit, they had a lot more fancy equipment than me. I heard them talking about, hey, how do you like that Panoptic system on your boat? I don't have all that guy's stuff. You know that I don't even have anything on the bow of my boat. I'm not using that as an excuse at all. Of course, they have a huge advantage with their upgraded graphs and their Panoptics that almost turn fishing into a video game. But I'm not using that as an excuse because at the end of the day, it's still incumbent on me to find the fish. That being said, you guys know I plan on upgrading my graphs, and maybe this is a motivation to do it a little bit sooner. But at the end of the day, this tournament for me was meant to be just a learning experience, not just about the fishing, but about the process, getting the boat launched, checking in, coming back in after the tournament day, figuring out how weigh-in goes. And I learned a lot about that process too, so it's not as stressful for me anymore. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, because at the end of the day, I think I was hyping this tournament to be much bigger than I really needed it to be. I was nervous about it, I was excited about it, I was anxious about it, and at the end of the day, it's just another day on the water. Just adding a little bit of money to the mix and the competitive nature, and let's face it, my pride got in my way a little bit too. I was really amped up, and I made this to be absolutely huge when at the end of the day, it should just be a fun activity. And in talking to the organizer, that's all he wants out of it. He just wants to put together a tournament where people can come, show up, have fun fishing, relax, and have a good time. I'll definitely be coming back and fishing this tournament again. One, because it was a laid-back atmosphere, and two, I need to redeem myself. So that's just a quick kind of hindsight video from my first tournament experience ever. If you have any suggestions for what I should do in the future as far as fishing tournaments, drop a comment down below. Let me know, because I'm always open to suggestions, especially for something like this where I'm not very familiar with it. I really don't know what I'm doing, but at the end of the day, I think if I just relax and tell myself it's just another day of fishing, hopefully that should take a lot of the pressure off and I should be fine. So that's the end of this look back to my first tournament ever. Hopefully you guys learned some things about tournament fishing, either from my video last Tuesday or from this one. I know I learned a ton during this whole experience, during the entire week of practicing and actually fishing the tournament, and now looking back and thinking about what I did and what I could have done better. If you like these tournament videos, let me know, because I realized how much I like fishing them, so I'm definitely going to go fish them again, and I'm happy to bring you guys along for the ride. And of course, make sure you subscribe down below so that you see more tournament videos when I fish them in the future, these 262 Fishing Friday forums, and of course my journey to catch a fish in every lake here in Waukesha County. So if you're local to the area, comment down below what lake in Waukesha County you'd like me to fish next, and that's where I'll head to. And one more quick reminder, if you haven't subscribed yet, do that right now so we can get to 250 subscribers so you can win the MEPS Bastard Kit. And as always, folks, remember, it doesn't matter if you go around the world or go around the corner, just as long as you go fishing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the water.